around at all?
Well, in theory, I thought my legs would get a good workout because I do have a sliding rowing seat, the same as you would have in a racing boat. But in fact, I found that I end up doing this kind of weird syncopated kind of rowing because it's really difficult to get both oars in the rough water at the same time. And because of that, I'm not able to slide very much. So actually my legs do atrophy. And I really noticed that this time around because about 2 weeks after I'd got off my boat in Kiribati, I took part in the climate ride, which was 150 cyclists riding their bikes from New York to DC. And they thought I was going to be like this sort of super fit Uber athlete turning up after rowing 3,000 miles. And I'm just not. And especially on the hills, I wasn't quite the slowest, but I certainly was not the fastest. And at the start of the week, I really felt the lack of fitness in my legs, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and by the end of the week, I knew I had muscles in my legs because they hurt. But it was a great question, thank you. Yes?
So, with perspective on everything you have, having been across the ocean, you've done all these amazing like endurance things for someone like your old self who was sitting in a queue.
Sorry, what perspective? What did I say to them? Well, I think the to-do list is a top tip because I think a lot of people have an idea of something that, well, you know, like I was. I knew where I was and I knew where I wanted to be as a person, but I couldn't really see how to get from one to the other. And so just breaking it down into tiny little steps or strokes, one stroke at a time, is what the book was actually going to be called at one stage, until we found out it was a subtitle for a book on a very different subject. Adults only. Another thing that really helps to keep me going when the going gets challenging is just to have a very powerful reason why. I had that very clear idea of the sort of person that I wanted to become. And even when I was having my worst days out there on the Atlantic, I thought, I just can't quit. I have to see this through because otherwise I'm going to be betraying myself. I'm not going to make it to be that kind of person. And so just, I think if you have a strong enough reason why, you'll always figure out the how, in other words. And also, I think I would have said to myself, just don't be afraid. You know, fear can be such a paralysing emotion, but actually most things that you're afraid of actually don't come to pass anyway. And that was something, hopefully I'm not giving away too much about the book, but 24 days before the end of my Atlantic row, my satellite phone stopped working. So I basically lost all communications with dry land. And it was amazing the effect that that had on my mindset, because I realised when it broke that up until that point, I'd been maybe living in the future too much, because I was getting weather forecasts through every day, and a good forecast would get me all excited about maybe making a really good day's mileage, or a bad forecast would make me all anxious and worrying about a storm. And normally the forecast would be wrong anyway. And I realised just how much emotional energy I was putting into stressing about future events that would probably never happen. And when the phone broke, I actually just became much more present in the moment, much more accepting of things just as they were. Not wishing that they were any different. It's just like, that's the way it is. I can't control the weather, I can't control the ocean, get used to it. So I think now I'm much better at focusing my mental energy on things that I can control, things that I can influence, and just let the rest take care of itself. Yeah.
Was there sophisticated technology involved in your rowboat, or was it recognizable
was there sophisticated technology involved
as
in
a
my
traditional
rowboat?
rowboat, the same as might have been there 200 years ago?
Well, people often refer to my very high-tech boat, which makes me laugh because I think if you paint anything silver, it looks high-tech. Basically, I suppose it is high-tech in that I have cameras and laptops and satellite phone and GPS on board. But it's also very low-tech in that its only means of locomotion is me. It still comes down to one rower and two oars. So that's about as basic as it gets. Certainly it is more advanced than the rowboats they would have used. There were 2 Norwegian immigrants who in 1896 rowed across the North Atlantic, and they didn't have GPS, obviously. They were having to use a sextant, which would have been really difficult because there's a lot of fog in the North Atlantic, especially over the Grand Banks. So probably for a lot of the time they just had to rely on a compass. They also wouldn't have had a water maker. Ocean rows, if you go to oceanrowing.com, divided into the historic rows, which are rows without GPS and without water maker, and then modern rows. So mine was a modern one because I had a water maker and GPS. Although having said that, my water maker is now broken on 2 out of the last 3 rows. But anyway, I'm still here, survived. Yeah.
When you're out in the middle of the ocean, what do you find you miss most about life on land? And now that you're back here, what do you miss most about being in the middle of the ocean?
Oh, great question. What do I miss most about land when I'm on the ocean? And what do I miss most about the ocean when I'm on land? I think when I'm out there, I miss, it's going to sound a bit weird, but I miss my freedom. Even though I've got the whole ocean to myself and I'm free to get up when I want, be as naked as I want, in another way I feel very trapped on that little boat. It's my life support system but also my prison cell. And there are times when I just want to break from it. But in fact my dreams sort of give me a psychological break from it, because in my dreams I dream a lot about food when I'm out there, just having a choice of what to eat. It's funny, in my dreams it's nearly always a buffet spread, so you know, loads of choice. It's the choices that I miss, because although the food I have on my boat is good food, you know, you get a bit bored with it after a while. And it is nice to go into a restaurant and actually have a menu and, oh, today I feel like having a caprese salad or whatever. Also, I miss trees.